All right, welcome back to part 2 of the training video, finishing up all the items that we need to do for the course. So we were in the welcome module, and as you read through the welcome module, and make sure that you are going to the next button each time. So read each page, click on each of the items, do whatever it asks you to do. You'll click on next page and continue through that until the end. Now, the welcome module is a completion module. And so now I skip to the end because I've already done this several times. So, but you'll read through all the parts and make sure you go through each page. And when you get to the end, you will see this back to table of contents in the last page. You do want to click on that back to table of contents and see course end page. And when you see that, you know that you've completed that module, or you think you've completed that module. If you have read each page, stayed on each page for a minimum number of time, and done all of the activities, then what we're going to do next is we're going to go back to the planner where we were in. We're going to mark that we have completed our video. We'll go to the next slide, and the next slide says we're going to check our personal reports. What you want to do is you want to make sure that the program was recording your responses and that you have exactly in your personal reports what you're supposed to see. Now I'm going to go back to the tab that I was in, it's easiest. And over here on the side, if you scroll up, you should see a link over here for follow-up and reports. So you will click on that follow-up and reports, and then on the personal reports here. Now what you want to see, this is a list of all the things that you are required to do in the course. And move myself over here. So when you take a look at this, notice it says I've read the video on the login instruction. So I opened that. It's completed the task. I marked it complete. I've read this. This is what you want to see in your personal reports at this point. As you scroll through this, you'll see all things completed and read coming down through here, and that's what I'm looking for. And then like here was you had to submit the quiz for the schedule and due dates. That's been received. Then it'll come down here to your syllabus and honor pledge submission. Now notice mine says not corrected. That's what yours should say. You will have uploaded it, but as a teacher, I haven't looked at it yet, so it'll say not corrected. If you hadn't uploaded, it would say not submitted, I believe. But it should say not corrected, and at some point I'll come in and check that you've done that. You've done the welcome module, and the welcome module, what you're looking for, do you see right here where it says passed? That's what you're looking for on the welcome module. The score will say 0 for the welcome module because the welcome module did not really have any items that you were actually doing. So you do want to make sure that that says passed and 0. And of course, your time would probably be way more than 1 minute and 39 seconds. The attempts is the number of page clicks. That's a running total. I've opened this multiple times as I've been running this course. But this time is usually the last time that you were in the model is what's being reflected right there. So I had just opened it for a few minutes. All right, so now until I go in at the end of the first day and check everybody's completion, I will need to add you to do anything else. At this point, that's as much as you can do. At that point, at the end of day 1, I will start adding students to the Begin Course folder, which is going to allow you to see the actual modules that are there. So this folder right here, you will not see initially. It will be something that I will have to add you to once you have completed all of your tasks that are up here, okay? So in your personal reports, you would not see anything below this training quiz. The training quiz will be the last thing that you see. Now, once you have checked your personal reports and all of these items are done, completed, and uploaded, then you would mark this as yes, and then you would move on and you would take the actual training quiz. The training quiz you can take as many times as you want, and you have to get 100% on it before you're going to be allowed to begin the course. So you can take it, see what you did or did not know, and then if you need to, you can go back to one of the prior things and look them up. And the last slide on this is a list of all the things that you were looking at. So if you need to go back and do anything, you can just come over here and click on that appropriate link and go relook some things up. So you'll answer those questions. It'll give you a grade. You'll look at your grade. If you didn't get 100%, then you'll go in and you'll take it again. So you just basically say start test, and then it comes up with all the questions, and you'll go run through the questions, until you get to the end. Let's see, I don't know if I just skip to the end and complete test, say okay. And then what it should do is it'll tell you your score. Obviously, I got 0 right. And then so that tells me I need to retake it. And so you can go back to the training quiz after you see your result and just start test again. Okay. Now, once you have completed that at the end of day 1, I will start adding students to the begin course, and then the due date will start for the modules. Now, once I add you, I'm going to close out of this. Once I add you to the course, then what you're going to see here, if you scroll down, there will be the next activity that is up there. And it kind of does it in 2-week increments. And so this module's 1 through 4. If I click start on that, what you'll see, if I can get it to hit start, there we go. When we take a look at that, what we'll see is the task that you're going to complete for that. So for this, you're going to be completing modules 1 through 4. After each completion, you'll go to your personal report tab, just like I did. You will check and make sure that the program recorded your answers and that you're happy with your point score. Now, let me show you a little bit about what that looks like over here. So if I scroll down now, as this student, my sample student, we've done several things. We've been working on this. What you want to see after you have completed a module is that you are going to want to see that it says passed. And then now this is bad right here. Do you see how that has a score of 0? If you look over here where it says 41, that module is worth 41 points. So obviously my sample student took this module, but didn't get any points. I also see this right here, this 23 hours, 58 minutes. This tells me that you opened this module and you left it open on your desktop. And what happens when you do that? And it may be that you took the module and you're like, I don't understand why I have 0 points. You can't leave modules open on your desktop. You have to open them, complete them, and close them, and then go check your personal report score. Because if you leave them open, it's connecting and disconnecting to its learning, and it may not be connected when you actually answer the questions, but it's keeping this running total that it's open. So you're screwing something up by leaving that open. You do not want to do that. Here's what you want to see if it's correct. Here's passed, and it says 40 points, and it's worth 40 points. I'm happy with this one. I would like to make sure I keep that as my score. And so you'll go through and you'll look at each of these items after you have completed them. I would do it after each module just to make sure that you're there. And then so it keeps us running total, and you'll see here, I haven't tried module 5, haven't tried module 6 as a sample student, and so on. So those are the things that you're going to want to look at. Now, the other thing that I want to comment on here before we move away from just completion of the modules, the module itself, the whole way that you're allowed to redo and get better points is for the fact that once you have gone completely through the module and it is marked passed, completely done, then you can reopen the module and then start answering questions again. That opening of the module the second time, listen to this very carefully, will reset your points. This only records the last attempt, and it does not keep a record of all of your attempts. I can't stress that enough. So once you are happy with your score, do not open the module again until I tell you that it is safe to do so. In other words, I have to put the grade into the PowerSchool and have it recorded, and then I'll say, yes, if you want to study or reopen it, you can. But do not reopen the module once you're happy with your score until I record the grade into PowerSchool, okay? It's very important. The other thing that I want you to notice here kind of in this, it's located here, but they're also located within each of the modules. There are comments that I have put into each of these kind of lessons for modules. The state made these modules, so don't shoot the messenger. I'm not the one that created them. There are errors, there are mistakes, there are some unclear instructions. There are different things that you kind of need to be careful of as you go through these modules. And so what I've done is I've put these notes in, and what you should do is you should read the note before you do module 5. So if you see a note and you should click on it, read it, when reading the data from the graph, the green line that represents the GDP, and on this one it was the line's really thick. And students were using the top of the green line to say what the max was, but it's not the top of the green line, it's the middle of the green line that they're going by. So instead of having everybody miss this question and not understanding it, I put a note in there for you to read so that that way you know what's going on before you take the module so you can be careful of it. Okay. And so there are all sorts of those types of things in the modules when you're working on them. And that will be listed in there because usually what happens on this page, I just put a link to the whole folder. So when you click that, you come in here, here are the modules. There's nothing for 1 through 4 to say, but if there is one, there will be a note that says, hey, read this before you do this module, and you would do that. Now make sure that once you have finished this last task, you mark that it is, yes, I have finished that task, and then you're done, okay? Now make sure you're paying attention to the due dates. Now this first task, if I go back to my course dashboard, what you'll see on this task is it's not listing the due dates for that task. Let's see, let me scroll down here. So here was my module 1 and 1, 2, the task for modules 1 through 4, and so on. Oops, sorry, I don't mean to keep sliding. Let me do this. So you have your modules 1, 2, 3, 4, and your task. Now, you do want to make sure that you pay attention to the actual due dates. That's why you have your calendar somewhere close to you, because module 1 is not due on the same day as module 2. You don't have to do all 4 of these in one day. Pay attention to the date that's on the due date schedule for that module. That's when it will need to be done. And typically, let's take a look real quick at the actual due dates, schedule and due dates. Just so that we can take a look at it. And depending on how your computer downloads, it may open up in a window, it may open up in a separate window. All right, so here's my calendar for the due dates. And when we're looking at this, you do want to kind of, here's module 1's due, module 2's due, and so on. Now, when you're looking at this, I am going to make sure that kind of as we're looking at it, that I'm going to mark like the days where I think I'm going to be putting grades in. So you'll be doing these, and I'll probably do it at the end of a lesson. So once 1 through 4 are due, probably on that Tuesday will be kind of my deadline to make sure I'm recording grades. Now I can record grades at 4 p.m. on Wednesday, and if you haven't done module 1, that's going to be considered late. So 4 p.m. each day, you need to have that done. In terms of putting it into actual Power School, I'm probably going to be doing it on the end of lesson 1. I'll put them in the end of lesson 2, and so on. Through the magic of editing, I went back and what I did is I kind of put a red box on each of the days that's at the end of the lesson. And so those will be kind of the days that you can expect some grades to be updated in Power School. All right, so kind of that should get you ready to go. Go ahead and jump on in and start working through the modules. And like I said, you do want to make sure that you get those modules, make sure they're marked passed. And then if you're not happy with your points, like that first one that I showed you, I would go back and I would redo the module. But you do have to go through every page the second time. You don't have to stay as long on each page. But you do have to stay like 15, 20 seconds the second time through, even the title page, to make sure you get that marked passed. And then check and make sure that your second try is passed and your points are okay before the due date, and then I will check those for you. All right, so that should give you ready to go. Go ahead and get started this week. You have modules 1 through 3 are due this first week of school. Module 4 is due on Monday, and that's about the time that I'm going to start putting some grades into the grade book, giving you some feedback, and then answering some questions that you have. Contact me through It's Learning if you have any questions. Just click up there. I'm going to show you really fast before we run out of time. Right up here is the little inbox. So make sure you click that, and you can do a new message right there and send me the message through It's Learning. And also pay attention to this. If there's a little notification, it'll be a little orange 1 up there if I send you some information. you'll get a notification